Hello, everyone. This is a true story from my own life. Please subscribe and watch till the end because the final moments carry the real meaning of this story. My name is Pearl Hensley, and people used to call me the Calm Woman. I smiled every time they said it because they never knew calmness is often just pain dressed in manners. I lived a life where I didn't get the luxury of falling apart because someone always needed me to hold things together. I worked for years in a professional environment, handling schedules, people, pressure, and emergencies like it was normal. I wasn't famous, I wasn't rich, but I was reliable. And in this world, reliability is a kind of power. My happiest moments weren't awards or promotions, though I had my share of respect. My happiest moments were at home. I loved the sound of my granddaughter Ava running through the hallway like she owned the world. I loved making tea in the evening and hearing her talk about school, her dreams, her silly little dramas. I loved watching her grow into a confident girl because I knew what confidence costs. Every time Ava won something, an exam, a small prize, a compliment, I celebrated like she had conquered the universe. I clapped loudly, I cooked her favorite food, I wrote her little notes in neat handwriting. I did those things because I wanted her to feel seen. When you're young, you don't understand how powerful it is to be seen. And when you're old, you realize it's the only thing you truly want. Back then, I didn't worry about the future much. I believed love was permanent. I believed family was automatic. I believed that the people you raise with your own hands will always remember the warmth you gave them. I didn't know that life doesn't steal people suddenly. Sometimes it steals them slowly, with deadlines, distance, and the dangerous word, later. Chapter 2. The pen I gave her. Ava was 16 when she told me she wanted a big corporate career. I still remember how her eyes shined. Ambition looks beautiful when it's young. She spoke about offices, meetings, leadership, and success like it was a city she was meant to live in. I didn't stop her. I didn't scare her with my own stories. I simply supported her because I've always believed dreams should be encouraged, not controlled. That day, I opened my drawer and took out an old black pen. It was scratched, not fancy, but it carried my history. I used it during my working years, signing schedules, approving decisions, and sometimes writing down small reminders when my mind felt heavy. I placed it in Ava's palm and told her, "This pen isn't magic, sweetheart, but it remembers discipline." She laughed, but she kept it. That made me happy. I watched her study late nights. I watched her learn to speak with confidence. I watched her build herself brick by brick. Those were golden days, days when the house felt alive, when my heart felt full, when the future felt like a bright road instead of a dark hallway. Ava got her first internship and danced around the kitchen like she was floating. I danced too, even though my knees didn't love it. She bought me a new kettle from her first small paycheck, and I held it like it was a trophy, not because it was expensive, but because it meant she remembered me in her first victory. That moment was pure happiness, simple, warm, and honest. I wish I could have paused time there. I wish I could have told myself, "Pearl, this is the part you'll miss." But life doesn't let you pause. It keeps moving forward, whether you're... Ava's career grew fast, and I was proud of her. So proud that sometimes I felt tears behind my eyes when I saw her name on professional emails or photos. She got promoted, people praised her confidence became louder, and her life became faster. At first, I didn't mind the distance. I told myself, she's building her future. This is what I wanted. But slowly, my days started changing. The calls became shorter, the visits became rare, the laughter became messages, and love started arriving in emojis instead of hugs. I didn't complain because I didn't want to become the kind of grandmother who demands attention like it's a debt. I didn't want Ava to feel guilty. I wanted her to feel free. So I stayed quiet, and I adjusted my life around her absence the way old people do, silently. I started keeping one extra chair at the dining table. It sounds silly, but it made the room feel less empty. That chair wasn't for guests, it was for hope. I'd cook her favorite soup and think, maybe today. I'd hear a car outside and think, maybe her. I'd set 2 cups for tea and then slowly put one back. And every time I did that, I smiled like it didn't hurt. People think loneliness is dramatic, like crying in the dark. But loneliness is actually quieter than that. It's eating alone. It's celebrating alone. It's getting sick and still making your own tea. It's having stories in your mouth, but no one's sitting long enough to hear them. I still loved Ava the same, but I began to understand something painful. You can love someone deeply and still feel forgotten by them. Chapter 4. The day my body started speaking. I had always been strong. Even when I was tired, I moved like a professional. Routine, discipline, control. But age is a silent thief. It doesn't ask permission before taking your energy. One evening, I felt dizzy. My vision blurred and my knees almost gave up. I sat down quickly, pretending it was nothing. I told myself I just needed water. But deep inside, I knew my body was trying to tell me something my mouth never said out loud. Pearl, you're not okay. A neighbor found me looking pale and called Ava. When Ava rushed in, I saw panic in her eyes and it almost broke me. I hated being the reason she looked scared. I hated being fragile. I hated the way the world suddenly treated me like a glass object. At the clinic, doctors spoke politely, professionally, and carefully. I listened like I always did, nodding like I understood everything. But the truth was, I wasn't afraid of medicine or diagnoses. I was afraid of being alone with them. That night, Ava stayed over. I heard her moving around the house like she was trying to bring a life back into it. She made tea, she checked on me, she sat near my door. And for the first time in a long time, the house didn't feel empty. It felt like home again. I wanted to tell her, don't leave tomorrow. But I didn't, because love, when it's mature, becomes selfless to the point of pain. I only said, rest, sweetheart. I watched her eyes, and I could see guilt hiding behind her tiredness, and I realized something. She wasn't a bad girl. She was just caught in the storm of adulthood. Still, storms don't stop you from missing the sun. Chapter 5. When her career collapsed. Ava's life changed quickly after that. I could see it in her face, in the way she stared at her phone, in the way she breathed like she was always running, even when she was sitting still. She tried to smile for me, but I'm a grandmother. I can read pain the way doctors read reports. One day, she came home holding her bag like it weighed more than her body. Her eyes were red, her voice was quiet, and she said words that felt heavy. "Grandma, I lost my job." I didn't react like people expect. I didn't ask what happened first. I didn't lecture her. I didn't panic. I opened my arms because I knew something she didn't. Careers can be rebuilt. Hearts are harder. She cried like a child in my lap, and I stroked her hair the way I did when she was small. I told her, "You are not your title, Ava. You are not your salary. You are not your achievements. You are you." That moment was serious, painful, and strangely beautiful. It reminded me that life has a way of forcing people back to what matters. Ava stayed with me more after that. She cooked with me, she watched movies with me, she laughed again. Small laughs at first, like her happiness was shy. I felt hopeful. I thought, maybe this is the beginning of us returning to each other. But life is not always kind. Sometimes it gives you a soft moment, just to prepare you for a hard one. The day my chest started hurting, I didn't want to make it a big deal. Old people learn to ignore discomfort because they don't want to disturb anyone. I sat down, took a deep breath, and told Ava I was fine. But Ava insisted we go to the hospital. On the way, I looked out the window and watched the world moving normally. People shopping, cars passing, life continuing like nothing was wrong. That's when I realized something strange. The world doesn't pause for anyone's pain. At the hospital, the lights were too bright, the air too cold, and the voices too fast. Doctors and nurses moved with professional urgency. I respected them because I used to be part of that world. I could read the seriousness behind their calm faces. Ava held my hand tightly, and I could feel fear in her grip. I wanted to comfort her, so I squeezed her hand back and whispered, "Don't look scared." I meant it. I didn't want my last memories to be her panic. Then everything blurred. Voices became distant, my chest felt heavy, and my breath became harder to catch. I heard Ava calling my name louder and louder, like she was trying to pull me back with her voice. And then, silence. Not the normal silence of loneliness, a deeper one, the kind that feels like the end of a chapter you didn't get to finish. I don't know how to explain what happens after a person leaves, but I know this. Love doesn't disappear, it stays. I felt Ava's grief like waves crashing again and again. I saw her sitting on the same sofa where I used to wait for her. I saw her staring at the dining table chair I kept empty. Now the chair was empty in a different way, permanently. I saw her holding my old black pen, the one I gave her, like it was a piece of me she could still touch. The house became quiet again, but this time it wasn't peaceful. It was haunted by memories. Ava looked angry too. Angry at time, angry at work, angry at herself. And I understood her frustration, because regret is the cruelest pain. It doesn't scream, it whispers. You could have done more. Ava stopped eating properly, she stopped answering friends, she stopped living like a young woman, and started living like someone carrying a heavy, invisible stone. I wanted to tell her that I didn't blame her. I wanted to tell her I was proud of her, even in her broken moments. But the living can't hear the dead the way they need to. They only hear silence, and silence makes people imagine the worst. Ava wasn't just mourning me, she was mourning the version of herself she wished she had been. Before I left this world, I had written a letter, not because I knew the exact day I'd go, no one does, but because I knew life is unpredictable and love should never be left unsaid. The letter was inside my drawer, next to old photographs and small memories. Ava found it weeks later while cleaning. Her hands shook as she opened it. I had written, "Sweetheart, if you're reading this, it means I'm not there to hug you, so let these words hold you instead." I told her I was proud of her. I told her she didn't fail me. I told her the world is harsh, but she must stay soft. I told her to chase success, but never let success make her forget people. And I told her something I believed with my whole heart. The best professionals are not the ones who win the most, they're the ones who remain human. Ava cried so hard after reading it that she couldn't breathe. But after that, something shifted. Her grief didn't vanish, but it became lighter, like my words gave her permission to forgive herself. Sometimes closure isn't a miracle, sometimes it's just one sentence that saves a person from drowning. Months passed. Ava started rebuilding her life. She went back to interviews, but this time she didn't sound desperate, she sounded grounded. She spoke about leadership, but also about empathy. She spoke about success, but also about balance. And when she got a new job offer, she didn't celebrate with loud parties. She came home, sat near my picture, and whispered, "I did it, Grandma." That moment felt like sunshine returning after a long storm. She started volunteering on weekends, helping elderly people with paperwork and groceries. She kept my old routines alive: tea in the evening, music in the kitchen, kindness in small things. She even placed an extra chair at the dining table sometimes, not out of sadness, but out of remembrance. Ava started living again, and that was my peace. Because the biggest gift you can give someone you love is not tears, it's growth. It's becoming better. It's turning pain into purpose. If my story teaches anything, let it be this. Life is not only about reaching goals, it's about who you become while reaching them. Careers are important, yes. Money matters, yes. Ambition is beautiful, yes. But none of it will hold your hand when you're alone at night. None of it will sit with you when your heart feels heavy. The people who love you, those are your real wealth. I was Pearl Hensley. I worked hard, I loved quietly, and I waited patiently. I didn't want perfection from Ava, I only wanted presence. And in the end, she gave me something even better. She turned my pain into her wisdom. She learned that later is not promised. She learned that love must be shown, not just felt. And she learned that the strongest professionals are the ones who remember their humanity. So if you're listening to my story, I want you to do one thing today. Call the person who loves you quietly. Visit them, sit with them, because one day the chair will stay empty and you'll wish you had filled it when you still could. Thank you for listening to my story and for learning the lesson it carries. If this story touched you and you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel and stay connected for more true stories based on real-life experiences.